This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Trade.
Well, g'day punters. Now, we all know it by now, Bet with Mates, one of the best betting features you can find. It just makes betting together so much easier. And the best part of it, you don't just have to do it for your singles, your race singles, your NBL single games, overs, unders. You can put your mates multi in there together. I'll tell you what, there's plenty of sport on the menu coming up. We've got the footy going. The Perth Wildcats are about to win the minor premiership. I reckon that's your free tip for this one, to chuck into your mates multi. But of course, maybe my Swans to win in there as well. Plenty of different options. As I said before, betting together has never been so easy than it has with Bet with Mates. And the best part, you can even rate your mates' tips with emojis out there. I know which ones I'd be using. Enjoy and gamble responsibly.
Where we are and where we sit now, if we don't win any of those games, we're not making the playoffs. So, and we got to do it on the road. So Phoenix knows what's at stake as well. Our backs are against the wall the rest of the way.
And away we go.
This game is huge.
Mitch Creek, Liafa, straight up three is down. Creek's got to let it go.
Wow.
Creek, what a pass.
Coach He, really good awareness to get underneath the hoop there.
Rock off all the way, that's going to count. Liafa's wide open, great pass. G finds him, top of the key, knocks it down. Ashley, Brockoff, great quarter so far, can't continue it there. And the lead is double figures. Cleveland, and they'll push the other way. That's going to count.
Here it goes.
Cleveland again off the rebound, and it's 2 more points. And he has changed this game, coach.
He has changed the game.
Return Mays, Froling, Conrad, got it. They're in front. Mumford taken away by Return Mays, who tapped him from behind, and it leads to a layup. These are the type of wins that solidify and steal you for a real run at a championship when you're a team as talented as Illawarra.
Absolutely.
And Reed is going to slam the door shut. And Gorge, we've seen that before. He loves it.
We learnt a lot about the Illawarra Hawks and their win over South East Melbourne last Sunday. Now another big test for them. 3 games in 6 days. And it starts with a trip to the Apple Isle to take on the JackJumpers at MyState Bank Arena. Hello and welcome to Sunday Hoops here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Jack Hevron joined by Andrew Gaze and Shane Heal. And Hammer, as we say, welcome to you. DoorDash starting 5 for the Illawarra Hawks, and they were massive last weekend.
Well, they're on fire. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. They're back in the hunt, feeling good about themselves. And you have a look at that lineup. They do it by committee. 5 players in double figures. So looking forward to seeing them tonight.
Straight off the top for this one this afternoon. A little earlier, we caught up with the coach of the Illawarra Hawks, Brian Gorshin. Gorge, thanks for joining us. You won 5 of the last 6. Are you back in town?
We're playing better, better on the defensive end, moving the ball better than we have leading into the winning streak. So 2 areas of concern, improving, but still need to get better.
Gorge, I know you well. You will have your team thinking that this is the best team in the competition you're playing tonight. You'll be nervous, but what's turned things around for you?
Well, we've been better on the defensive end of the floor, and I think it's been with the ball pressure. We've picked the ball up a little bit earlier, which has helped us, on the on-ball defense. There was too much of a gap. We kept trying to go underneath. It was loose. We've gotten into the ball more. We've defended the on-ball better. We've gotten back better, not switched as much. And then on the offensive end, I think the ball going from one side of the floor to the other before we get to the point. Those are the 2 major things.
And Brian, what about what have you done with Xavier Rutten-Mays? Because in the last 7 games, he's plus 57. I don't know how much weight you put on the plus minuses, but he's plus 57. Prior to that, he was minus 74. So, and since then, of course, you're getting a few more wins.
Well, Hammer, you'd know this. We've been practicing for about a month now, and he's only allowed to dribble a ball twice at practice.
Right.
So Shane would remember that with Kavasi. Yeah. 2 dribbles, or it's the other team's ball. And That's promoted ball movement, and again, it hasn't been a fight on his behalf, but he's come here from an environment where he's always had the ball in his hands, and they've played off him, and they've played off pick and roll. So it has been an adjustment for him, this competition, the way the defense is, the way they're picking up, and how the game's played here is a lot different to what he's been involved in prior. So there's been a learning adjustment.
Gores, we appreciate your time as always. Thanks for joining us today and good luck.
Thank you.
Brian Goorjian a little earlier today as we take a look at the Tasmania starting five. Drew, DoorDash March Madness, 20% off everything. You can use the code word madness.
Yeah, they are. And talk about do it by committee, they do as well. They throw their lineups around a bit. Mikhail McIntosh has been in some really good form, and in that win a couple of days ago against Cairns, he was scoreless. Shows the versatility they have. But if they're going to hang in there, they're 9-9 right now. This is a must-win for them.
And a shout-out to our Kmart ball kid for today as well. Willem, great to have you involved in Sunday Hoops, Willem. Still to come this afternoon, it'll be Melbourne taking on Southeast Melbourne in the next instalment of the Throwdown. But this a super important game for both teams. The Hawks, fourth on the table, 11-7. And the JackJumpers, after their win on Friday over Cairns, as Drewy said, 9-9. And they continue to just hang around. It's Illawarra in possession first. All part of Indigenous round over rounds 14 and 15. Harvey didn't make a field goal in their win last Sunday.
0 of 8, 0 of 5 from the three-point line. That's unusual for him, and it's been a little tougher for him in his sophomore season, and there's a nice little play to get things going. It's a little cheapy that couldn't quite pull it off.
Kenyon. The Jet at the top of the key, gave up the first look, and the deeper one is long. Reith with the rebounds, sixth in the competition in offensive rebounds, fifth in the competition for blocks. His first season in the Hungry Jacks NBL has been a good one. Cleveland, nice spin and finish.
And that's what he brings to the table, doesn't he? I like it when he can go down low, but also put the ball on the floor and attack the paint. He's tough.
It's a tough matchup for Majed. Down low, and they did exactly the right thing. Just spread the floor and created some space. You can see Froling just clearing out, trying to lift his defender. And as such, not a lot of help there.
They need to keep going back at that as well. Found a mismatch, and not a lot of teams do that. When they find a mismatch, keep going until the defense finds a solution to cut them out.
The issue with the clock here, but look at this JackJumper lineup. They've gone small. We've seen without Mikhail McIntosh in there, who's size-wise, he plays bigger than his height. And they've used Jock Perry a little bit in the starting lineup, but today they use a real small lineup, and I suspect that Brian Goorjian will put an emphasis on a play like we just saw.
Drew, with the names that you're mentioning in this lineup, Scott Roth's got to be coach of the year. They're 9-9.
Yeah.
It's this new franchise, and you look at the talent that they've been able to put together. They play hard, they play together, but they're not overly talented. This has been impressive, and from the players to buy in and play as hard as they do and play with confidence too.
Oh, no doubt. He's got the absolute very best of the available tools, and we're seeing it here. Look at the ball movement. It goes from side to side, and the speed in which the ball moves in the half court.
Krislovic lost at that time. Cleveland's pass chopped off. Kenyon quickly to the other end. Kick out for McVeigh. He gets it back. Little two-man game, and look at that ball move.
Unselfish. Quick hands, good recognition of the action. And Hammer, if I had said to you that this stat, Matt Kenyon, they're 7-1 with him as a starter. They're 1-8 when he comes off the bench. Now, that might be a coincidence, but for a guy who was out of the league and really unwanted to have this type of impact, that's the type of thing you're talking about with Scott Roth.
No wonder he's starting.
Yeah, that's right.
There he is. Dumps it down low to Krislovic. The Jet had 16 points on 4 of 8 when the teams played in round 12. Kenyon lost at that time. when they did play in round 12. An extraordinary result for Tasmania, 96-86 win.
Outrageous.
Brian Gorsham called them the Phoenix Suns after the game.
Well, 22 made three-pointers.
Froling got to the right hand. Couldn't finish off. Josh Adams, the star in that game, had 8 made threes. Illawarra had 4 as a team on that day.
Well, the three-point line's become a major feature of the JackJumpers. In the past 10 games, they've taken 46% of their field goal attempts from the three-point line.
Harvey. This is out.
And you have a look at the intensity at the defensive end from Tassie. They do a great job. They actually hold their opponents to 26% from 3. And you see that speed them up, put them under pressure. This is where Illawarra really need to get their spacing, their timing, play with a little bit of poise, get through hands and get to your best players.
Like that. Good example of the penetration. A little bit of help, and that is a elite pass by Harvey.
Great energy at MyState Bank Arena once again. Another sellout crowd in the house. Their first season here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Tasmanian fans have voted with their feet. Cleveland, nice stroke. Illawarra away to a fast start. Adams threw it into the stands.
Antonio's Cleveland has been incredible this year. 13 points, but it's the defense that really sets him apart for this Illawarra team. Only shooting 25% from the 3, but you see he's capable when his feet are set, but he does his best work when he puts the ball on the floor.
It's Justin Jessup, part of the NBL's Next Star program this season. He's second in the league. That pass a little off target. Adams, aggressive. Doesn't get it to stick, nor does McVeigh. Tassie 1 of 5 to start this game. 1 of 6, in fact.
Well, a couple of turnovers along the way, and there's just the defensive transition. And Cleveland, like with the numbers that Hammer suggests, that's not a hard closeout, but you just can't give him an open invitation like that.
Midway through the opening quarter. Cleveland has 5 of Illawarra's 7. A little off balance, gets it to go. He has 7 of their 9.
Tough shot, but I'm not sure Brian Gorsham would be happy. He spoke in that interview about trying to get the ball moving, going side to side. Well, they've got a whole lot of people taking a whole lot of dribbles that I'm sure he'll speak about shortly.
Well, it's all about they're using those dribbles, though, just to post up. So it's like he's recognised there's this size advantage and really encouraging to get to the paint. Like that. Comes up, overcooks it a little bit, Froling, but it does appear so far in the early goings about, well, let's just see if we can't pound our way into the paint.
McVeigh, nice finish with the left hand. Breaks a run of 7 straight points for the Hawks. It's it back to a 5-point game. JackJumpers coming off a 16-point win on Friday night against Cairns.
Well, I reckon there was about 16 dribbles, 1 pass and a shot.
No. I think he was talking about that dribbling specifically for Rathan Mays.
Adams and 1.
That's the 3rd time he's gone in there. The 2 previous ones he threw it away, and this time there just gets that little bit of space and that extra run-up and uses athleticism.
Another 35 minutes in this game, and if you keep going at me,
Scott Roth getting an early warning in regards to the feedback that he's providing to the officials.
20 points on Friday night for Josh Adams. He was our Foot Locker player of the game.
Just on that, Hammer. this year, maybe, I don't know, maybe because we're mic'd up differently, but we're hearing the coaches a hell of a lot more. And gee whiz, I reckon there is an argument. We've seen it in other codes, the AFL in particular, how they're cracking down on them. I reckon there might be a time for a big stick approach with some of the coaches. Really? A lot going on, a lot of talk.
I felt the last couple of years, particularly with Trevor Gleeson, Simon Mitchell went through a really bad stage as well.
Yeah, over that period of time, including that, but also this year as well. It's like it's got to a point where, gee, they allow a lot.
Dave, you mic'd up in the WNBL, Hammer?
Well, I was yesterday, and I reckon there could be an argument said about me too.
It's Kenyon up the other end after the big block. Good energy from the JackJumpers. Now they've scored the last 7.
And that's what they do. They just persist. They play hard. Look at it, lock and trail, move, fight, try and create easy points for themselves.
Good block. He's a really good athlete, and then they make the most of it. Fly down the floor for the easy 2.
He's got some bounce, Josh Adams. Harvey, his first field goal of the game. Puts Illawarra back in front by 2.
What do you made of Harvey's season, Drewy?
Been up and down. He's not shooting the ball all that well, and the things that we saw last season, and going under on Maggette, probably not a good idea as well. But yeah, up and down. They need, if they are going to contend for a title, they need more out of Harvey than what they're currently getting. And coming off an 0 for 8 game, not shooting the ball particularly well either.
Still not sure that, you know, he's a point guard. He started as a point guard in this game. And that's why I think Rathan Mays maybe not be the right point guard next to him either. I'm not sure that balance has really worked for the Illawarra Hawks.
You think Harvey's more of a 2-man, do you?
I definitely think he's a 2-man.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I think he'd be better suited with a Scott Machado, somebody that, you know, can control the tempo of the game, run sets, run plays, be aware of where he needs to be able to get, you know, somebody like Harvey off flare screens and down picks and lots of movement, and give him opportunities to be aggressive out of that.
And Hammer, just on that point, Emmett Nah is one that can do that. And he's only played the 4 games. He's a really irrelevant season for him.
And I think, you know,
he's one that you could look at and say maybe find a bit more time to create those opportunities for Harvey.
And I think the difficulty for Nah is, I agree, I think he's a great passing point guard, can do exactly what we said. George is just such a defensive coach. I think he sees him as a little bit of a liability based on the way he likes to be able to play D with bigger, stronger players. But I think he's going to pick up a game somewhere, next year, and he's going to show that he's a quality player.
Recently just come back from duties with the national team, Emmett Nah.
Yeah. Conrad here, just not moving his feet. He's close. You could see what he was trying to do, just didn't quite get there quick enough. He's been a great story as well. A year and a half ago, he was one of the coach's assistants, and now he's playing a pretty decent role in potentially a contender.
Shot clock at 7 for Maggette. Feeds Bairstow. It's clinical offense from the JackJumpers.
Great spacing, great timing on that little pick and roll.
They're out to a 3-point lead on their home floor, where they're 5 wins, 4 losses for the season. They're taking a couple of big scalps down here too. Harry Froling. Conrad pops out. That's missing.
That was a miss. Oh, hello.
Isaac White picked Bairstow's pocket.
And for most of that possession, it was a great example of how switching can help you until the last possession where they just forgot their rules and they both went to the one guy and left a shooter in Conrad wide open, and that is picking a pocket. That's a good way to describe it.
We're loaded with shooters in commentary this afternoon. Let's get down courtside for the first time today to Anthony Stewart.
Good afternoon, guys. What a massive week of NBL22 this week with the Hawks playing the JackJumpers twice in a row at home. You just look at these two teams matching up. I just think the JackJumpers, this is a team that they match up well against just through their intensity, and I still think they can get these 2 wins this week.
Daniel misses everything.
Well, if they're going to play in the finals, then, which is a big ask because they've got a few games to catch up, but these two are more than just the win that you get. You give a team that's under threat a couple of losses along the way, so they're going to be, it's going to be crucial. If they don't win these 2, then it's going to be hard for them.
I think you say the same about Illawarra, though, right?
True.
These are games that
absolutely
Illawarra have to win. You go and beat South East Melbourne, you get this run going, 5 out of 6 games, and then you play against a team like Tassie that fight hard but don't have the same amount of ability as Illawarra. These are must-win games, and Brian Goorjian would have been building this up so much for his team of the importance right now.
So they play today. They go home to play South East Melbourne on Thursday, and then back to play on Saturday again against Tasmania. So a challenging stretch for the Hawks. By the end of this 6 days, we'll have a pretty fair idea of where they fit in the scheme of things.
You lose all 3 and you're cooked, I think.
Yep.
You lose all 3, it's going to be very, very hard.
Conrad, nice move. Draws a foul. I guess the other thing, too, for Illawarra is now with the emergence of Sydney, for a long time, if you remember the discussion, was that the top 4's pretty much sorted out. It was just a question of...
I reckon that was a Melbourne view, Jack.
Well, maybe.
I reckon everyone in Melbourne was saying that.
Maybe.
It's saying that in New South Wales.
But now the Kings have put some serious pressure on Illawarra and probably now hammer by extension South East Melbourne.
No doubt. And, yeah, South East Melbourne, you know, that game coming up next against Melbourne is critical because I think they're the most vulnerable of all of the top 5. Sydney's got arguably the most talented roster and the most firepower coming in. I don't think there was enough spoken about with how they played with so many players out. That took time, even with DJ coming back from injury, but it's so even. Right now, it's hard to say, yep, this team's going to win it. It's just so even in that top 5.
You see the Kings today as well. They're the 3rd game up against the Taipans. Steindl banks it home, puts the JackJumpers back in front. Shot clock switched off. Nathan Mace has Isaac White in the corner. No foul called. White misses from underneath. McIntosh from halfway. Just misses. It's Tasmania who lead it by 1 at quarter time. A good start to this one at My State Bank Arena. Don't go too far. It is a massive day on Sunday Hoops. More coming up next in the Hungry Jacks NBL. like Cairns on the road. Thanks for being with us for Sunday Hoops. Quarter time at My State Bank Arena. The JackJumpers looking for their 10th win of the season. Lead it by one, 16-15. They've shared the ball around and they've made a good start. There's a long way to go in this game. The winner of our Kmart gift card for today as well. $50 to the winner, Sharon Smith. My daughter Kira loves cheering on her favourite team, the Illawarra Hawks. She's been going to the games since she was 3 years old. That's the sort of stuff that we love to hear.
Love it.
What do we make of the opening quarter?
Well, after a shaky start by the JackJumpers, they found their way, back on track, and I think the scoreline here with the low scoring is probably better suited to the JackJumpers as well. They spend a lot of time in the half court zinging the ball around with plays like that.
Tailor-made for Clint Steindl, that play. The JackJumpers captain has 5 points on 2 of 3 to start the game.
Well drawn up, too, out of quarter time, running that staggered as we see the big fella Reith get it under the basket now. But coming out like that, getting him off those stagger screens, Clint Steindl's one of the best of the league about working without the ball to be able to catch and shoot it in a hurry. And you see right here, pass from Weeks, that's money.
I mean, what was White? There's no White trying to shoot the gap on Steindl. I mean, that's just a poor decision or a mental breakdown about how you've got to guard Clint Steindl. You've got to stay on his hip and trail that. Trying to shoot that gap creates that separation.
And particularly when there's so much room to flare.
Yeah.
Because if you go up the middle and then they flip the screen, he's got a wide open shot there. It's always a lock and trail against great shooters like that when you're playing off the ball.
Jared Bairstow comes out. 2 fouls to his name. McIntosh slips over at halfway. Jared Weeks running the point. Both Majet and Adams off the floor at the moment for Tasmania. Steindl turns the corner, misses everything.
And that's the difference when you got Cleveland locking and trailing with that sort of size and athleticism. You go up as a shooter and go, oh, is he coming from behind to block this one?
33% shooter from outside this season. The Hawks who made a fast start to this game. Led it 9-2 early on. Here's McDaniel getting a hand in the passing lane.
Poor pass by White, just bad angle. One more dribble down towards the baseline, create a better angle, and you can make that entry pass a whole lot easier.
Weeks. Got it.
What a luxury to be able to have Jared Weeks. Doesn't play a whole lot of minutes, but with his experience, ability to be able to defend full court, bring a whole lot of intensity and then knock down a shot like that. It was a great signing, Jared Weeks.
Cleveland lost the handle. That's the 5th turnover for Illawarra so far. Steindl! They're red hot at the moment, the JackJumpers. 6 unanswered points. They've come out firing in this second quarter.
Well, give them their credit. They're knocking down shots. They're playing at a really nice tempo and sharing the ball around. But down the other end, you give them credit for what they're doing on the defensive end. They are doing what they have to do, make it really tough. They're one of those annoying teams to play with. They're scrapping. They'll throw the double teams in, really get you in a disjointed offensive set. And when you've got Steindl coming in and knocking down those threes, makes it a whole lot easier. And sure what Brian Gorge is doing here is taking an interesting position to address his players.
How would you describe that? As assistant coach JackJumpers talking to the group. Gorge just peering in over the corner.
It's a war. Stay at it. Game of runs. Stay with this. Here we go.
Well, I reckon that's probably in the scout. They have some specific action either on the offence or the defence, whatever it may be, and something's not happened, which Jake has handled throughout the course of the week, and just wanted him to get into more detail about some of the things that they were trying to get to, so he just hands over to his assistant. So not overly uncommon.
That's interesting in that, I mean, Brian Goorjian's such a, and you know him, Hammer, you know him really well. I can't remember a time I've ever seen that where Brian Goorjian's had the assistant address the group.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But there's an element of trust there, and like Drewy said with scouts, but I tell you right now, this is about turnovers. And the turnovers are happening because of the intensity from the JackJumpers that are really bringing it on the defensive end. They've caused 6 turnovers already for Illawarra. And what we said before is they've taken them out of being able, and there's another one right there. They're up, they're in, they're playing with the intensity. The crowd are getting behind them. And they're holding the Illawarra Hawks 1 from 7 from the 3-point line, and that's what they've done well all year.
6 turnovers for Illawarra, 6 steals for Tasmania, make that 7. In fact, 7 turnovers.
Well, on the slip, his foot went over the centre line, and they deemed he was still in possession of the ball, so it was an over and back.
But it's the pick-up points too, Drewy, isn't it? Like they're denying the wings, they're picking up. The people off the ball are doing a good job. Even when they threw that turnover into the post, McDaniel was 3-quartering a week past, and they picked that off as well. They've come with the right mindset again right here, Tassie.
McIntosh slips over at the crucial stage. Shot clock was against them regardless.
A lot of slipping going on. McIntosh slipped a couple of plays before around centre court, and again, that time just on the baseline on the drive.
And again, look at the pickup points here from the JackJumpers, just up and in. Not necessarily going to double, but they're playing in between. And then they force Illawarra to be able to change their style and rush. One pass, and that time they get rewarded with a kick up the sideline with a quick 3.
It's been a 14-5 run over quarter time in Tasmania's favour. Much needed bucket that time from Harvey. McDaniel, who had 20 in the opening half when they played earlier this season, he misses. Krislovic doing the dirty work is fouled.
Well, they got an advantage that, despite the size differences that are out there, they win the rebounding count. There's a gamble by McDaniel that they're running. That's the right time to do it when you've got a team that's just turned the ball over. You gamble off a shooter, and down the other end, Krislovic just outworking the Illawarra Hawks, coming up with a couple of free throws.
I think Scott Roth would be happy with that still, because if they miss that shot, the tempo was all going.
100%. It was a perfect time to take that gamble if you're going to gamble.
Because from Gorge's side, everything's going against them. They're turning it over. They get sped up. One pass up the sideline, quick 3. That misses. The JackJumpers have gone again. So, you know, sometimes you're going to have to give some of that up.
Krislovic had 13 points on Friday. It's 3 or 4 from outside. He jumps out.
A couple of free throw misses, and then that little hook.
There's Froling.
And how quickly it can turn. A little gamble, and certainly the right gamble from what we saw on the 3 ball, and then a missed couple of free throws, and all of a sudden, that little buffer zone that you have is eaten away pretty quickly.
McIntosh denied by DeWalt Reith. Top 5 in the competition. The shot's blocked. Harvey got it.
Whack.
8 unanswered points from the Hawks. Brings it back to a 3-point margin.
Wow, that's huge. Again, they were 1 from 7 from 3. They get down the middle. Easy one for Froling there. Now another 3, a block at the other end. And the game just turns. Great time out. Now they get a chance to reset. And I would suggest that Brian Goorjian would be taking this time out.
Take a listen to Scott Roth, coach of the JackJumpers.
Hey, good possession down here. Yeah. Let's run just a straight orange twist. Yep. All right? And then we'll come back to an OKC. All right? The pop back, Don't have it, DHO, OKC. All right, something simple, get the ball moving. All right?
Hey, try get me involved. Get me moving or something.
Hey, let's go 2 out with him.
All right, oh, 2 out.
Clint, Sam, our 4, our 5, into the hole.
Hey,
all right?
Look out. Hey, I'm going to come off this one. Look at the slip. This
Together.
one, get out.
Together, 1, 2, 3, together.
8 unanswered points for the Hawks as we get courtside to Anthony Stewart.
Yeah, guys, I caught up with Harry Froling before the game just briefly, and he was talking about Tyler Harvey has been tearing it up at training this week. After an up-and-down season, he's expecting to really kick on in his last 10 games.
Well, I'd be pretty keen to bounce back, Drew. He's 0 from 8.
Yeah, it's never a good feeling.
Last weekend.
It's easier to deal with a 0 from 8 when you win.
Yeah.
When you have those types of numbers and you lose, you start to think back of the what-ifs and if-onlys. But when you win, you can move on and put that behind you pretty quickly.
Special connection for the Frolings with Tasmania as well. Jenny won a WNBL title playing for the Islanders.
I love it how Drewy speaks like as if he's ever been in that situation. 0 from 8, but we won, so we can move on. You know, how would you know what it's like?
Well, that's happened many a time when you...
Not 0 from 8, it hasn't. You've never had a 0 in a game.
No, I can't remember one.
So, well, you're just making stuff as you go along now.
No, but you can still have a bad shooting game. It might not be an OFA. And you always go back and you can think of that one shot where you're wide open and you think, geez, if only that one had gone in, it could have changed the whole.
Even on good shooting nights, you go back and go, oh, but I could have done this.
Is that one of those situations where Drewy starts the sentence, Hammer, with, I could imagine what that would be like?
Yeah, that's how he should start. He speaks like it actually happened.
Jack McVeigh steps up.
Slightly different context, but McVeigh has been great. After an indifferent start to the season, he's really found his rhythm and role in the team.
Well, I like him as a format.
Yeah.
And I think that's the role he's playing. He's so mobile, he can switch on balls, got that mobility to defend guards as well. And then Harvey. Wow. His third 3 now of the quarter.
4 of 7 from the field, 3 of 6 from outside. Tyler Harvey, the first Hawk into double figures. He's starting to become a big problem for them. Majet fouled. Got Froling up in the air. 3 free throws coming.
Well, he signalled it was on the hand, that it was a hands foul. It looked like it was going to be with the body. And here's Tyler Harvey. When he starts feeling it, you need to pick him up and put ball pressure on as soon as he steps over that centre line. Certainly wasn't on the hand.
Didn't look like it.
83% free throw shooter this season, Josh Majet.
Let's go, Josh.
And Brian Gordon not happy with that call.
Okay.
Don't forget, still to come, Southeast Melbourne take on Melbourne in the next instalment of the Throwdown. That's as soon as we wrap up here. Jam-packed full of action on Sunday Hoops. Rattan Mays, tough move.
Might have got away with a little push-off here. There, just hard to defend when you're going to allow the offense just to push off like that, but then he's good enough to keep his composure after creating that separation.
It wasn't much. Was it? It did look like he extended it technically, but
looked like he pushed him out of the way.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the balancing act for Gorge, because you see him, he's come down, he's run a play, he has dribbled it more than what he wants, but he's got the ability to sometimes do that. And I think it's a balance for him of when he's doing this, but then recognising that Harvey's hit 3 threes this quarter. So what can I get him in? What sort of actions? How can I get him going to be able to help the team as well? And that's probably just the recognition I'm not sure we've seen so far this year.
If you follow the plus-minus, he's been plus 57 in his last 7. Before that, minus 74 across the season, Xavier Rattan-Mays. Spoke about it pre-game with Brian Goorjian. Kenyon gives the JackJumpers another look at it. The Jet. Kenyon up top to Adams. That's fresh air.
And I like the plus-minus. I pay a lot of attention to plus-minus, and it's not gospel week in, week out, but I think you can get a general idea of what players make the team better. And it's not about individual stats, because when they're on the court, the team is either up or down. And you can find some serious trends over a season and over periods. And generally for role players that aren't putting up big numbers, that contribute in so many other ways that are valuable for a team.
Well, Matt Kenyon's the prime example of that. We spoke about his record as a starter. Rattan-Mays stepping back. The tip-in goes for Illawarra. So Matt Kenyon is plus 64 in his time on the court. The next best for Tasmania is Josh Majette, plus 14. So
that's huge.
But that's the role player, isn't it? That's exactly what you were just talking about.
I like the plus-minus of groups rather than individuals as well. Sometimes that can tell you a little bit more than just the individual plus-minuses.
Adams got to the cup, wanted a foul. JackJumpers lead it by 3. And for those watching at home who don't watch a lot of basketball, Hammer, just explain the plus-minus and the logic behind it.
Well, the plus-minus is simply whether, you know, how much the team is up and down for your minutes that you're on the court. And it's the most simplistic stat you can really have. But as Drewy said, though, you know, a combination of players, when 5 players are on the court, as you see that drive, they're really good, strong take, is you can get combinations. These 5 players, while they're on the court over a 7-minute period for the game, they're plus and minuses, and you can find, you know, groups of players that really work well together as well, opposed to other players that really don't over a period of time.
McIntosh draws a foul. Gets himself on the line.
Starting to attack the paint now off the dribble, the JackJumpers, and getting benefits too. Seven fouls now for the Hawks, and only 4 to the JackJumpers, and that's because they really are trying to penalise off the dribble and being aggressive.
Scoreless on Friday night. Had been their leading scorer in the 3 games prior, Kyle McIntosh.
But when it comes to free throws, and a lot of that can be related to the way in which you play, the Illawarra Hawks are last. They're only averaging 14 free throws a game compared to the top, which the Perth Wildcats are just a little over 20. So a lot of that's because of, you know, they're shooting the ball so well, that a lot of action from the perimeter. There's second in 3-point field goal percentages. We thought we had a timeout, but
no, you call a sub, so it's a sub only, so no timeout. Hey,
what about shoes too from the big fella?
Yeah, nice little lime green number.
You didn't rock anything like that when you were coaching.
Well, we didn't. Just even back in the day, I mean, someone wearing those back in our day.
I wouldn't have been wearing them at the Lilydale station growing up. I can tell you that.
Absolutely not.
They'd have lasted about 5 minutes on your feet.
I would have got a clip around the ears, I reckon.
Nice. I like it, though.
You could do like a coach's edition of Gazeys.
Well, I think that can come into the rotation. This sort of more line and length stuff with what we deliver, but it's nice.
Harry Froling hasn't scored so far. Dances into the keyway.
Keep going there, keep going.
It rolls out. Majette quickly to the other end. Yes!
Great take. just slow being able to get over that screen and back to the shooter. Harry Froling did his job in the drop situation, but the guard needs to get through.
Harvey misses that one. 8-point lead for Tasmania. A little under 90 seconds before half-time. McIntosh adds to that with 2 more.
It is, and the offense has been cooking for the JackJumpers, but it's really to hold this team to 32 points so far is an outstanding effort. There's it off the ball. Jet just coming down, stepping back. That's as easy as you want. And then McIntosh, this has really been where he's grown in the last 6 weeks. It's just being able to play bully ball. And there was an off-the-ball foul.
It's the read, and it's the same guy. It's the same guy that missed the other one. Same rep.
They've done a good job, the JackJumpers, in the possession game too. They've forced 3 more turnovers. They've got 4 more offensive rebounds, and obviously then they're shooting the ball at a higher percentage as well, which has given them this 10-point lead. But that's all effort, desire, and the toughness this group continues to play with.
As I mentioned, this is the Illawarra team, 87 points a game they're putting up. And if we take a look at this foul, it was off the ball here. Oh dear.
That's a terrible call.
Wasn't a lot in it. I guess.
Well, if anything, they should have called the first one, not the reaction.
Well, it is, and even the reaction, he lifted up the elbow. You can tell. Yeah, but there's the foul that they should have
There's
called.
the second one, and then he's lifted up the elbow in reaction, and that's the problem when you let contact go the first and second time, and then the player reacts and gets called the third.
And I think it was just the angle the official had was coming from behind, because I don't even think he hit him in the head. I just think he raised the elbow. I don't even think there was a whole lot in the contact after he raised the elbow, but just the action itself.
And if they're not going to call that, then JackJumpers want to come back and do the same thing, keep bumping off the ball and continue to test the referees. And if they're going to have a consistency, then they're going to force Illawarra to be able to react like that.
Little Mustaka that I think Harry Froling's going with at the moment as well.
A little blondie.
Yeah.
Moth stuck on his dick. What a pass. So they find the spaces and they run the action off the ball to penalise any of the defence, or if you're not keeping vision, and they expose it well with the passing of the JackJumpers has been outstanding.
Brian Gorgian was on them after that last reaction call. And you see that's the pass we're talking about, just a breakdown, the back of the defence, no communication. 2 players went to one and left it open, but Illawarra gets the call after Gorge was in the ref's ear.
It's a game-high 12-point lead at the moment for Tasmania. That won't go from Harvey. Majet from well outside. And Reith with the rebound and kept it in. Cleveland's got Harvey. That's an air ball.
He missed that by a metre.
Last possession of the first half will be with the JackJumpers. What an opportunity for them to expand on this lead. Kenyon, foul! Points are good with 1 to come.
That is a great drive and a really good cut, recognising the man in the corner, Rathan Hayes. He turned his head. Look at that. Great cut back door. Really good pass and execution from Tassie. 14-point lead going into the half.
What about Wayne McDaniel up and about? That's in the baseline there. One of the all-time great scorers in the NBL.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was indeedy for Hobart and a few other teams along the way.
Kenyon makes the extra. The JackJumpers lead by double figures on their home floor at half-time, 47 to 32. They've had a big second quarter.
It's been huge. Like I said, the biggest thing for me is holding this Illawarra team to only 32 points. They've been able to punish them for the 8 turnovers they've had. And in the half court, the ball movement and the way in which they've been able to create easy scoring opportunities, it's all gone to plan for the JackJumpers.
Let's get down to Anthony Stewart.
Clint Steinwell, is that the best basketball we've seen of the JackJumpers so far this season?
Mate, I reckon we've played some pretty good basketball along the way here. We're pretty focused right now, and we know we're competing for something, and we're coming out with a mindset like we're in this thing.
Yeah, so, I mean, playoffs are just around the corner. Obviously, the last 3 games were a real focus for you. You took care of Cairns up there. Illawarra, the next 2 games, you're right on song now.
Yeah, I mean, they're right in that bunch that we're competing for that second or that third or fourth spot. So if we want to play finals, then we got to beat teams like this that are going straight against us.
All the best in the second half, Clint. Well done.
They keep playing like this, they're a chance. They hold Illawarra to their lowest halftime score of the season. And Clint Steiner has been absolutely superb, leading the way for the JackJumpers. He's got 11 points at the half, and Tasmania lead it by 15 at the half, 47-32 here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Tough time at My State Bank Arena. It's been a really good half for the home team today, the Tasmania JackJumpers. They lead 47-32, and it's on the back of a 31-point second quarter.
It was fantastic, wasn't it? And all based around their defence. They got stops, holding this Illawarra team that's potent to low percentages, forcing turnovers, getting out to the races. They share the ball so well. The JackJumpers, exciting basketball for the locals to be out there today, and it looks like a great crowd.
It is. It's been a fantastic game for the JackJumpers. Everything's gone to the script, really. And for me, though, the Illawarra Hawks, they didn't go about it the right way. They're 4 of 16 from the three-point line. They're only at 25%, and they've only had 31 field goal attempts, so more than half are coming from the three-point line. When you've only made 4 of them, a guy like Duop Reef really hadn't seen too much of the ball. Harvey's had 11. He's 4 of 10 from the field. Cleveland with his 7. A lot of those, they all came in the first quarter. Steinel, he is a constant threat from the perimeter with his 11 points, but the JackJumpers have been able to spread their scoring around, and there you see the difference in the field goal percentages. 46% for the JackJumpers, pretty good. 36%, not terrible from the three-point line. And the rebound count is the thing that sticks out, and when you're making baskets, you're going to get more assists, and I think that the JackJumpers would be delighted the way it's gone about. 47 points against this Illawarra Hawks team. To be able to put that number on the board is just shows the efficiency and the way in which they're playing and sharing the ball around and creating good scoring opportunities.
7 made threes in the opening half for the JackJumpers. Clint Steinel's been a huge factor in those 7 made threes. Hannah?
He's been great, and we know that he works well without the ball, but it's a real unselfish team. They like to attack off the dribble, so then they're getting him off flare picks and pin downs and all the rest of it. But again, they get so much out of transition and they get stops. And, I think they've forced Illawarra in to take half of those shots from the perimeter because their defence has been so locked in to be able to keep them out of the paint. And I think Brian Goorjian will be talking about, obviously, keeping him off the three-point line right now. You've got to lock and trail, you've got to run him off the line. But Brian Goorjian will be all about trying to get that ball movement that he spoke about pre-game.
So the Hawks down 15 at the half. Tyler Harvey went 0 from 8 last weekend against the South East Melbourne Phoenix. How have you seen his opening half today?
Well, I think he started well. He looked positive. Whenever you're coming off an 0 for 8, you're going to have some things going on in your head in order to sort it out, and he sorted it out quick. Knocked down a couple of shots, got the 3-ball going, and then as the game drew on, it seemed like he lost a little bit of the stamina in his shot, come up short a couple of times and actually threw up an air ball. But when he gets going, he's one of the toughest in the competition to guard from the three-point line. And we haven't seen any of that little floater action, the action towards the rim as much this season as we did last. So he perhaps needs to just bring a little bit more diversity to the way in which he's creating scoring opportunities.
I think more people need to get involved. He's taken 10 field goal attempts. The next most is 4. So they need to have more of a priority at different stages for some of their bigs and get in and off the block, get some sort of movement as well.
2 field goal attempts.
They got some work to do at the half, Illawarra. No question about that. They trail 47-32. And as we head to half-time, I think we all agree that the jerseys that the teams are wearing as part of Indigenous Round look absolutely superb. They all have their own unique story. And during the week, Illawarra learnt more about theirs.
Oh, there's a bigger one up there.
No, this will do. Just down, move forward. Countries from all the way from Coffs Harbour to Victoria. This is the land of the Dharawal people. Smoking ceremony, it's a cleansing ceremony for healing and to purify the land, heal the people, bring us back. We don't own the land, we belong to the land.
Of creating this jersey for you guys this year, and I wanted to keep the mascot that you've already had and wanted to keep it around community because community is so important. And so that's why you've got the gathering symbol where the basketball is, so that represents the team, the community, the fans, everyone that comes together to watch the game and supports you guys. And then also I wanted it to be about Dharawal and the connection to sea country, so where the players are. So you've got the whole bottom down here, and that's all the connection to sea country and how important it is.
Just about ready to go at MyState Bank Arena for the third quarter. The JackJumpers lead 47-32. They've scored the last 14 points in the game.
I would have loved to have been in that locker room as a fly on the wall, not as a player, that Brian Goorjian just had at half-time. He would have been...
A screamer? Is he a screamer, Hammer?
No, but he just... Like, you feel more guilty because he would have pumped this up as such a big game and so important to their opportunities trying to get to the playoffs, and they've come out like this.
Froling gets inside. Here's Conrad starting this second half. It's out of bounds. Last touch by Illawarra.
Oh, my. But I like the intent on that play. They wanted to be able to get the big fella Froling down the middle. Couldn't quite come up with it.
Well, the first look was for Jessup, and that's where, when you're executing their play, the destination might have been with Froling, but I thought Jessup on that little slip cut, it was not an easy pass, but it was a pass that was on.
And again, two actions going to the basket, and we didn't see a lot of that in the first half.
Back where we started with Majed at the top of the key. That's a hook. Spot on.
And he didn't need to do it. He was already around. There was no need for him to do it. Have a look here. He's got past. He clearly hooks him. That's the easiest call all year.
That's not sure how wide was the look of surprise.
You might want to have a look at that replay and take that back.
It's Harvey. Short. JackJumpers 9-9 in their first season in the Hungry Jacks NBL. It's so far ahead of schedule, it's ridiculous.
It really is a credit to them, and Scott Roth and what they've done and how they play. Something to be proud of down there in Tassie.
Phoenix, who were the last team to join the competition, had 8 wins from their first 18 games when they joined the league. So this is some sort of scope of how good they've been.
But in saying that, South East Melbourne had so much more talent in their initial year than what this JackJumpers team's had. And especially when you consider that Magnay, you know, has been out for a chunk of the season as well as their marquee player.
A big chunk of the season. There we see that.
That's correct.
Early on in the first half, that was a go-to. Cleveland got off to a flyer with 7 points with plays like that. We're just backing out down the defense. And they're forced into a tough shot with the shot clock running down. But that time there, you saw the rotation. So they've made the adjustments on how and which, if Cleveland's going to just back him down there, where's the help coming from? He ran into a body right there and blew up that play. So good adjustments on the defensive end by the JackJumpers.
They were 6 of 13 from outside in the second quarter, Tasmania. After being 1 of 8 in that first term. There's a foul and a whistle comes from the other side of the court.
Paul Mabry didn't have a close enough look at that one.
Hey, I was looking at the corner.
Have a look here. He did hold him. Conrad did hold him.
Well, so on revision, that's fair from Vaughan as well. He was looking at the corner, so it was the right call that was coming from the other side of the court. But
as Cleveland scores first points of the third quarter for Illawarra and breaks a run of 14 straight that the JackJumpers were enjoying. Here's Fabian Krislovic, starting in the absence of Magnay. Adams for 3.
Wow. Well, they make the deep 3, but there is a noticeable change coming out of this halftime break by the Brian Gordon. The first couple of possessions, a lot more ball pressure, a lot more intensity on the defensive end.
Josh Adams up to 7 points now. Jessup, the next start, hasn't been able to get going today. Had 15 points last weekend in their win over the Phoenix and made some big buckets today. It's just not happening for him.
I think that's the problem with him, is that he can look really good and he can look really bad and have absolutely no impact on a game at all. He's not a young kid anymore, and you know, we spoke about it off air. I'm still only 23, turning 24, but he's old enough and enough experience, 2 years out of college, second pro year, next star, that he has to be a little bit more consistent for this Illawarra team.
Krislovic's first points. 52-34. Harvey's fouled.
And that's what you were after, Drewy.
Just that penetration, he's very good at it. And some of those floaters that we saw last season, not as much this season. Every now and again he does, but this, you see him just trying to crowd off the bounce. But
so, what is it, Drew? Is it, have teams gone to work on Tyler Harvey now? Was he so much of an unknown last year that he was able to get away with a bit more?
Well, that, absolutely, that's all part of it. And different personnel around the team as well has an impact on your options. But yeah, just trying to find the balance. And what's happening, there seems to be a level of anxiety with some of the players. You know, Jessup now, he only took 2 field goal attempts in the first half. So he came out and forced up a shot. Pretty quick trigger right there. He feels like, well, hang on, I've got to get myself going. And it's like they haven't found a way in which that each and every one of them can get their shots and feel comfortable about where they're going to, their shots are going to be created. If you're Duop Reith right now, you're almost irrelevant. 3 rebounds and 1 of 2 from the field, but unlike the JackJumpers, they don't even get a touch in the half court. The ball's not zinging from side to side where you're at least handling it and feel like you're involved even though you may not be getting your shots.
Too good a player to have had 2 field goal attempts, isn't he, Hammer, Duop Reith?
Well, he is, but you've got to credit Tassie as well, because it's been their defence that has really disrupted the Illawarra Hawks as well. And that's where, you know, I've been saying all year, Illawarra need a proper point guard that can take control, get them into their sets, understand that Reith needs some touches, Harvey needs some touches, have priorities to be able to control the tempo of the game. And I think that's been an area they've really struggled this year.
It's been missing, and it's spot on. If you've got a point guard out there, he knows exactly that, hang on, Reith's played 14 minutes or 15 minutes and hasn't touched, only had 2 shots. I've got to create something for him, and that hasn't been there for him.
And it's not that you don't want your point guard to score, because you still want somebody to recognise as well, to say, hey, now it's my turn to step up. Now I can get to the free throw line, make plays as well. But right now, they are just struggling for an answer at the offensive end, and down to 33% from the field. But I'd more credit Tassie for their intensity on the defence.
And 4 of 20 from the three-point line.
Harvey forces that one up. Coming up next, John Cain Arena, the venue for the next instalment of the throwdown between South East Melbourne and Melbourne. Both teams coming off losses. They're pretty keen to bounce back. As Conrad sits down. Hammer, pre-game we spoke to Brian Gaussian, and he spoke about some stuff that's going on in training and 2 dribbles, and gave a little shout out to Kavossi Franklin in that as well.
Well, when we won the first championship at the Kings, Kavossi did like to dribble a little bit. So Gaussian brought in a rule and said, that's it. No more than 2 dribbles or it's a turnover. And I can tell you, players learn very quickly. And it certainly helped us. Kavossi was a terrific player, don't worry about that, and contributed to the championship win. But sometimes players need to change habits that they've brought from other programs and what they do, and new roles and different teammates and priorities. You see, nice little one from Jessup then, but, you know, interesting to hear Gorge reminisce from nearly 20 years ago about he's still using the same tactics now and it's still working.
The Jets pass misses the mark. Jessup looks like he's trying to get himself going, but lost the ball that time. The Jets pass caught a leg.
Well, the Jets saying he kicked it, but it was unintentional. If you throw it, unless it's an intent.
So he's wrong again. It's like, because Froling didn't even know that it was there. It was unintentional, as Drewy said, and it's thrown it in the back of his calf, and it's simply not a violation.
Are you going to keep going? Hey, the play is in there. Are you going to keep going?
As we tick down to 4 minutes before half-time. Three-quarter time, I should say. The Hawks had to do it the hard way last weekend against South East Melbourne.
This has a different complexion to that one, though.
They went on a 32-9 run to finish that game, but they're further back today.
The only way I see Illawarra getting back into this game, if it starts on the defensive end, they get stops and actually break things open from scoring in transition, because right now, Tasmania's defense is so strong and they're forcing Illawarra to do things and rush and play away from their strengths, and it's a real proactive, tough way to play. And Illawarra have to step it up to get some cheapies.
No, it's spot on. They have done everything they're supposed to do in regards to the scout of making it really difficult in the half court for the Illawarra Hawks. White's going to get the N one here, I think. Missed the first one, but fouled in the second.
Let's go.
Going back to the 80s too with these mullets, Drewy. Would have been proud of that in the late 80s.
Oh, mate,
rocking that. He just needed a couple of blonde tips to go with the back of that.
Did you roll with anything like this?
Oh, the mullet, you had to have.
Because Drewy's been great since he was 16, so...
Yeah. No, I used to rock one of them in Geelong back in the day.
Not sure it ever went out of fashion in Geelong.
Hit up Lammies of the night time.
Geelong Hotel those days.
And Steiner, 11 points at the half. Hands off to McIntosh. Rebound by DeWalt Reith has been very quiet, as we've spoken about today. Trying to get himself going. Free throws to come.
Critical 3 minutes, Drewy.
Oh, absolutely.
Little adjustment here from Illawarra. They've attacked twice now off the dribble. That's what we've been calling for. Now the big fella gets to the line. Critical for them to keep going, but also for Tasmania to make a stand to say, we need to keep a double-digit lead going into three-quarter.
If Illawarra can just have that goal, get this down to that single digits, 7 would be great, but around that mark, then it puts a whole lot more pressure back on the JackJumpers and what they need to do in the offensive end.
And I think they can do that. Now they've got Tassie in the bonus. So that mindset of attacking off the dribble, getting themselves to the free throw line, because we've said they've struggled to score from the floor. 34%, only 20 from the three-point line. Now the free throws can become their friend.
Weeks knocked one down in the second quarter, knocks one down in the third quarter.
Wide open, little back screen, flare screen, and they've got so much in their bag as far as their offensive sets.
Nice response from Jessup, who's got 7 points in this third term. He looks like he's the one to try and get them going.
Well, I think Rattan Mays, that was the one of him putting the ball on the floor, again tacking, getting into the paint, drawing the rotation, and that's how Jessup can hurt you when he's waiting for the catch and shoot.
McIntosh misses from underneath. He wanted a foul.
Well, Big Fella's just got to finish that, did all the work, just missed a bunny.
Jessup up top. Rattles out. Offensive rebound and putback by DeWalt Reith. The Hawks have scored the last 5. It's back to a 10-point margin. And Scott Roth wants to have a chat.
Yeah, really good timeout, because he sensed what we did, that the tide is turning. And Illawarra just starting to turn things around. And you see this little flare pick that Drewy spoke about. And that's the value of having someone like Jared Weeks, experience to be able to knock down that shot. But I think things are turning for the Hawks.
Okay, your catch. We're going at a double gap again. Stepping. Weeksy on the sprint. Clint's coming at you, J.A. And ghosting. You got your right hand. If they bite, you got Clint coming behind you. You got to start playing with your feet and get into a fucking stance and guard, and then you got to go rebound. You got to stick and go. They're calling all the fouls because you can't keep the ball in front of you. Keep the ball in front of us. Together, 1, 2, 3, together. Come on.
That's about as emotive as you'll see, Scott Roth. He's normally pretty cool, calm and collected.
Well, and he was talking about what we did as far as the penetration that Illawarra started to get, and that's what's made them good this year, is that hell-bent on being able to contain the ball. And when you make teams play from the perimeter and they can't penetrate, can't get to the free throw line, and they lost that advantage over the last couple of minutes, and he addressed it.
Harvey sitting down at the moment. Sam Froling, just 2 points in the game as well. Not out there for the Hawks. Let's get to Anthony Stewart, who was taking a listen to what we understand, Stewie, was a very colourful Illawarra timeout.
Yeah, Gorge is pretty animated. He directed his message straight at White for that open three for Weeks, and also Harry Froling's got to do a better job inside, just boxing out and keeping McIntosh out of the paint.
59-49 at My State Bank Arena. Adams kicks out to Weeks. Fires up a tough three late in the clock. Reith reels it in. That was a little better from Isaac White.
Well, Gorge lives with that. If that's the type of contested shot that you're going to have for Weeks, certain things you've got to live with, and that's one of them.
Jessup doesn't get it to drop. Adams almost lost the handle. And the JackJumpers can reset. Steindl.
What was Harry Froling thinking? Like, he was almost gapping him as if it's some guy that hasn't made a living his entire career from the three-point line. They're the ones that if you feel like you can't contain him, well, let him blow by you and have Gorge scream at someone for not providing you help. Don't let him just walk into a three-ball.
14 points now for the captain. Ratan Mace gets himself on the line.
Thanks, guys. Let's go.
Here's the one I was talking about. Here, there's a switch. It's a soft switch. And you see how he's hedging for the drive? Now, that is... You should never be back on your heels. If you're big and you're worried about that, there's certain guys that you can gap and contest and put a hand up. Clint Steindl's not one of them.
Ratan Mays misses the first. A really important minute before three-quarter time for both teams. He makes the second, brings it back to 12.
Unusual free throw shooting technique, Hammer, with those really wide spread feet.
I don't know why people make it more difficult than what it is.
I don't know either.
It's a free throw. It says it in the title. It's a free throw. You need to be making 80+% of that. No need to make any degrees of difficulty.
Reith off balance. Tough little runner.
But Scott Roth will live with that as well. That's a tough shot. And you want to force as many tough shots as that. And they've done that the entire day.
Back to 10. Illawarra would love for this lead to be inside single figures. Going into three-quarter time, and they'll get their chance now. Six seconds for Ratan Mace. Up for Reith, top of the key. Oh dear.
Hang on.
You're in the bonus. And those, you don't mind that three if it's come from a penetration and you've tried to draw some contact, get to the rim. But just to come down and just throw it to Reith to shoot a three-ball. Still some time left, 0.9, so catch and shoot.
Well, they had the last 3.5 minutes or something in the bonus. We spoke about the opportunity of attacking the paint to try and get more free throws.
You ready, Vaughn?
And whilst they got some, they didn't take the full advantage.
Now Weeks throws up a prayer. 10-point lead for Tasmania at three-quarter time. We're back with the fourth quarter next on Sunday Hoops. It's three-quarter time at MyState Bank Arena. The JackJumpers lead it by 10, and Lifesavers have launched a new range of Fruit Tingles chocolate balls and chocolate bot. It's available now in supermarkets. The new chocolate range is a fun, new way to enjoy the iconic and nostalgic Fruit Tingle Lifesavers that we all know and love. And if we had a packet of them in commentary...
Where are they today?
Where do you reckon they are?
In Drew's bag or somewhere, probably.
In his stomach.
In my guts. I love him.
He's like a pelican. He just shoved the whole packet in, plastic and all.
Oh, my. That is a massive hit to start the fourth quarter. Wow.
It saps a bit of the energy out when you've made a run just before three-quarter time, and all of a sudden, all that hard work, you look up and it's now back out to 13.
5 made threes for Clint Steindl. Harvey, good look for three. That jumps out. They're playing for their playoff spot right now at Illawarra.
They are. They really are. And that was a better play from Illawarra with that drive and dish, and oh my. Oh, he's got the strut going too. Steindl's got the strut.
I thought he was Conor McGregor for a second there.
He did. We need to see a replay of that. Oh my.
Swinging the suitcases around.
Oh dear.
What a start for Tasmania. Breaks a run of 6 straight.
I'm tipping Clint Steindl didn't do much sharp work on the dance floor based on what I saw.
Oh, from the expert Dancing with the Stars. Now he's got the ability to judge people's rhythm.
Yeah, you forget we watched you dance.
Oh, my goodness. And I thought I was tone deaf.
There was some, what I would call involuntary movements.
And lucky he is a very popular man. That's all I can say.
Well, there's a big, big hit from White in the corner, and that's what he can do. That's what he's done throughout his junior career.
Need some stops, Illawarra. Steindl has Cleveland all up and in. McIntosh, shot clock at 3 from the elbow.
What about Steindl? He's 6 from 8 from the three-point line. Illawarra 6 for 25 as a team.
His 6 made threes is his best for Tasmania too, Clint Steindl. He's made 4 3 times in a game this season. He's 7 of 9 from the field in total. He's the game's leading scorer with 20 points.
Well, and he's only averaging 1.7 makes a game, already up to 6. And some of these were in the eye of the defense. They weren't wide open. A couple were, but to start, well, there you go, Drew. The assessment of the little dance move.
Yeah, just not quite as fluid as he needed to be. But I like the fact that he's up and about and enjoying it. And he's surprisingly,
now he's off.
Has a spell.
Oh, my goodness. No, I can't support this up.
Well, if you're a JackJumpers fans, there hasn't been a whole lot of massive comebacks this season. Teams that have led by double figures at three-quarter time this season, Hammer, they're 32-0. So no one's come back from a double-digit three-quarter time lead.
McIntosh for McVeigh. Yes!
Got that, Hammer.
Great extra pass.
What about the sub to bring him back into the game?
No, we could bring Jack McVeigh and just come in for someone else. It's not either or.
I agree with you. It's a little unusual given what Steindl's been doing.
Still no Will Magnate for this JackJumpers team. Cleveland off target.
That's not going to get it done.
That's a poor shot selection.
Well, it's just not his game.
That early on in the offense as well, there's still plenty of time to get through to something.
Oh, my.
It's starting to rain threes again for Tasmania. They repeat the dose from round 12. Splash, splash, splash. 74-57 at MyState Bank Arena. This game has been blown apart in the early stages of the fourth quarter.
Well, they get a 24-point advantage on three-point makes. They've been exceptional. Again, shooting the ball at 44%. And it's come from really good structure, good cutting, good passing, extra passes, and a lot of them have been wide open, like we saw from Jack McVeigh. A couple in the eye of the defence we spoke about with Steindl, but overall just really, really good unselfish play.
27 of 59 from the field across the day, the JackJumpers. They shot it at 49% on Friday night, which was their best this season. They're not that far off that mark again today. 6 minutes and 50 seconds to play. This game's getting away from Illawarra. Since quarter time, Tasmania 13 of 24 from outside. They're shooting the ball at 54%.
Amazing stuff. And I tell you, it looks like JackJumpers will win this game. Illawarra are a team that are a little vulnerable, and I've heard Drewy talk about it on the telecast before, but if there's ever a time that we would want to play in-game to see who makes it, this would be the year, right? Add an extra element of excitement in the NBL because it is so close.
No, that's. I think we need to do that in the team-team competition, and I know it's on the agenda too. So I think
can you make that happen, Drew?
I don't know if I can make it happen, but I can certainly suggest it.
I reckon you could make that happen this year. Well, the sort of power that you have.
Well, the fact that I would suggest it would say that it's probably not going to happen real soon because very few of my suggestions get too much.
No, we're not talking about at home. We're talking about within the league.
Well, that's why
you've got a little more power.
A little gun shy.
There's absolutely no say at home. Majet for another one. Nice hustle from McIntosh and then Kenyon.
And something about matchups that you just feel good about when you're playing against a team. And from the three-point line, when you made 22 on a team, you have those very fond memories. And just trying to put it to bed. Everything has to be perfect now for the Illawarra Hawks for them to get back into this one. That's a good chase by Weeks, fighting over the top, giving nothing despite a 17-point lead still. Look at the effort here, fights over, and commits the foul, but the intent of what he was trying to do is exactly what you need to do.
And take it out from the sideline and they start again. You're exactly right, because that's how they've played.
Froling aggressive. Short on that one. Cleveland's fouled, and he's got 2 free throws coming.
It's really been hard, Drewy, to know what Illawarra's strategy's been on offense. Now, they may have had one, but it's hard to see what they've tried to do because of the defense from Tassie, but they have to be better if they're going to make the playoffs. And defense has been a problem for them this season, but offense has been a real struggle for them today.
Well, I noticed in this second half in particular, they go real native early. So they'll get into something and it gets you into an on-ball situation. And you've got, to me, they're taking a lot of shots that you could get at any stage of the offensive set. So a lot of those shots in that first 10 seconds are coming that in isolation may not be bad, but across the context of the game and where they're at, I question some of the shot selection and when they're attacking. And
I think it comes down to who's taking that at that particular time as well.
Correct, and that's why we see some of these guys not seeing the ball as much as they should. You know, Jessup only 2 shots in that first half. Regardless of what the circumstances are, he needs more than 2 shots. And right now we've got a coach's challenge. And Reith only 1 of 2 from in the first half. He's now up to 4 or 6. He's got his 12 points, but not a lot of action or sets for him. They're just coming out of the flow of the play rather than a designated set to get it to any of these guys. Gee, that's going to be hard to, from that angle, hard to overrule. Looks like...
I reckon that's Illawarra. I've put the specs on.
Jeez.
I reckon.
You've got good eyes.
Well, maybe it's more of a guess. It's like it's a Tassie hand.
I don't know if it's conclusive enough, is it?
Oh, it is in my book.
Well, there it is. I think the follow-through might have... I know what I saw what you saw, but I don't know if you saw what happened after what you saw.
Yes, the timing of whether that follow-through pushed it out, that was as clear as mud.
This coach's challenge is a tricky one.
And ladies and gentlemen, challenge is successful. The call's been overturned. Black ball.
You were right, Hammer. Take some of that. Thank you.
Put it there.
Needed to start getting a few of these right after some of the calls that you guys have been making. Listening from the couch.
No good.
No good.
Oh, we haven't had a good season.
Has Hawley got a stat on the commentators? Because I know he does it on the coaches.
He does.
He has one on the commentators' calls.
I'll have to ask him. He'll be courtside for the next game. We'll check in with Halls and Matty Garrick, who are going to be there at John Cain Arena for us before the end of this one. We'll check in. The Jet, use that screen from McIntosh. Shot clock into single figures. Back with Majet. McVeigh have to shoot. Not short. Illawarra need points. 5 minutes to play at My State Bank Arena. Cleveland dances into the paint.
Well, that last set, I think you're going to see a lot from the JackJumpers. They know the clock's their friend. And it's a fine line between using the clock and going too negative, because it can creep up on you, and this lead can be diminished quickly if Illawarra can get their offense going.
Let's get down to Anthony Stewart.
Yeah, guys, I spoke about it in the first quarter. I just think Illawarra is the perfect matchup for the JackJumpers. Once you take them out of their offense, they find it really hard to get back into it. And Gorge is just talking about we need to get it to the second side. We need to get it into the post and play out of that. And both their bigs and their guards, I think they've got some big guards that could be posting up Majet and others, but they just haven't taken advantage of that.
That's a good point, Stewie. And Brian Gorgon has been asking for it, but we haven't seen a lot of it. Haven't seen a lot of post touches.
Kenny, my apologies, it was. There's McVeigh kept off the glass by Rattan Mays. Hawks down 14. Remember, they made a dramatic comeback last weekend against South East Melbourne, but the 3-ball has not been their friend today. 6 of 28.
And that's a wide open look. You don't mind that one, particularly in this context where you don't have a lot of time to get into much action now. They just got to. They need a lot of exchanges of the ball.
McIntosh misses. 1 of 8 today on the back of a scoreless game on Friday. Here's Harvey with a hand in the face. Adams blocks the shot to the other end. No foul.
Oh, dear.
That was a terrific block. A lot of contact that wasn't called either way. This is now back.
I don't mind the call because
I think he cut across.
Yeah, he did.
Which then
there you
influenced it.
If anything, there's a hint of an offensive foul, so it's a good no call. Good outcome.
But why don't they call the offensive foul? Because I don't know what the defense can do. If the offense has every right to just change their direction and bump you out of the way, but all of a sudden, for some reason, that's legal.
Well, the outcome got to that anyway without the foul, but you're right, Emma. It makes it very hard for the defense if you're going to allow that.
Well, the only thing that makes it different is that would have been their 4th team foul. 3.5 minutes to go. It adds up. Extra free throws.
True.
Just saying, call what we see.
They've scored the last 5 points, Illawarra. It's a big mountain to climb. Steindl back out there. The leading scorer in the game with 20. Clock at 3, Majet off balance.
Well, the last 4 possessions, they've got it down to that last 5 seconds. Clearly just trying to use the clock, but they haven't had good looks. And you still want to explore. If you get something cheap, if you're the JackJumpers, yes, you want to use the clock, but if you still want to execute where there's meaningful action to get something cheap, rather than just waiting and throwing up the prayers that they've had in these last 4 or 5 seconds.
Frowen's played 11 minutes in this game. I mean, after the start, he was virtually vanished. Why? I have no idea. It's not like any other bigs have been Dominating. I mean,
the only thing I think of, Hammer, is
up to 17 minutes now, but
is probably more to do with the matchups and with the JackJumpers going small a lot of the time. Perhaps he's concerned about the mobility, but you're right. It's how then can you provide a benefit for having someone like Froling there?
And do you have to go small because the opposition does, or can you go big and take advantage of the mismatch?
Correct, that's what I'm saying. If you go down the other end and play that little game of chess and trying to expose them down the other end for going small.
That looked a little on the soft side. I'm not sure the reaction really.
Really, hey, Brian, don't yell at me. I'm not on the play. You just at you? I'm not looking at the play. Did I yell at you? I'm down here. Okay. Right.
Sounds like a discussion at home with one of the kids. 10-point lead for Tasmania. McVeigh, catch and shoot. Misses again.
Well, they've given the Illawarra Hawks a lot of opportunities to come back in there, and the Hawks so far haven't been able to capitalise, but now all of a sudden it just starts to get a little bit of think time now for the JackJumpers.
You said it before. They're going to have to make some baskets to close this game out.
Back inside single figures for the first time in a long time. Illawarra have 9 unanswered points. Tasmania need a basket. Adams lost the ball. Here's Harvey. Short. And we're going to stop in play. Josh Adams looks very uncomfortable right now. Let's have a look. Let's get to Anthony Stewart.
In the Launceston game, he got hit in the mouth, but he should be okay. No, they're going to take him off.
I wouldn't say it looked like a vicious blow, but perhaps if he's got another injury, that maybe
booing him for that. They're booing Ratar Mays for that.
He's drawn blood, so clearly it was forceful enough to.
Yeah.
We drew blood, Hammer.
We missed the first part of what Stewie was saying there. He did cop one in the mouth on Friday night, so
just opened up the wound.
There he is, Josh Adams.
Last 2 minutes.
2 minutes remaining.
I grew up in a different era. There's 2 minutes to go. I'm not going off for that.
Oh dear. Got the big fella trying to split the gap. And they have clearly the last 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and said, well, we're not going to shoot it until we're inside the 6. That was the first time I think they've had a shot in the last 5 possessions that it wasn't under 5 seconds left on the shot clock.
Last time it was single figures was 8 points, and that was with 90 seconds to go before half-time.
Huge.
McIntosh, important knockdown. That'll be a block on Tasmania.
You see how Tassie just create a wall. Do a really good job in defensive transition. You see this good drive, good find, gets up in the air. Nice easy one from the elbow, but it's the defensive transition from the JackJumpers where they get everyone back below the ball, off their man, create a wall, make it really difficult for opposition teams to be able to slice through and get easy baskets in transition.
And they do that without sacrificing or compromising the rotations on the three ball. They really do a good job of closing out and still being able to slide their feet and kick people in front.
64% free throw shooter this season. There he is, trying to get it back for Illawarra. Lost it. Tasmania ball.
I've got green balls. I want to look at that out of bounds again.
Yeah, I didn't think this was a clear cut going to be.
I'm reviewing the out of bounds, guys. Go on, I'll go take it.
Ooh, that's a tight one, isn't it?
Come on,
Really?
have
Babe?
a go. Let's review.
I'm going to say this decision stands, but it was almost like both of them hit it at the same time. Hammer, look here, Hammer, look. See, they both got it and it just comes off at the same time. Doesn't it?
I would say that Cleveland's hand is pushing it in this direction, whereas McVeigh's trying to bring it back and Cleveland's hand pushes it in this direction. So I'm saying it's Tasmania ball. What are you saying?
That's what I said.
So it is a Jack Jumpers ball.
Huge win if they do end up getting it by the Jack Jumpers.
Huge win. This team has earned so much respect. Brand new franchise. They've dealt with, you know, key players being out for periods of time. Probably, you know, an import that probably hasn't been at the level that they really wanted. But so many guys have stepped up.
Oh, they've lost the ball. Costly mistake. Opens the door. Just that little more for the Hawks.
What is he doing, big fella?
McIntosh gave it up.
What is the
4 points in 15 seconds.
He thinks he's Isaiah Thomas out there trying to split the double when he just makes the simple advance pass.
I think he was acting like he was shooting it. He wanted 3 free throws. Look here.
Look, he just had the pass.
Oh, he's shooting it.
But he had the pass just ahead. Instead, he wanted to show us his ball handling skills.
I'm in no way defending him. That's the problem against presses. You don't want to be dribbling through it. You want to pass yourself
well, the
around
guy was open ahead of him, Emma.
That's my point. You need to be passing the ball. He should not be dribbling it.
Oh, dear. I mean, this is just... There you see Kenyon, I think it is, ahead. Just pass it. Like he's got the size just to pass over the top, get it down the other end. Instead, it's game on. It's a 5-point game, Emma.
And now all of a sudden, 5 points in a minute 11. That's very achievable if you're Illawarra.
Well, I think it's time now for their other import to be able to maybe come back into the game. Maybe they're...
Well, he needs a ball carrier. Back-to-back oopsies from the in the back court by McIntosh.
Yep.
It's the last thing you need at
stage
of the game is an oopsie.
And Adams is back.
And they decide
rightly so.
They advance it, but then they lose 10 seconds off this. So I'm surprised they do decide to advance it.
76-71.
Lack of trust in their press break.
Shot clock down to 5. Adams got past Rattan Mays, misses the layup. Jessup got it free. And here come the Hawks. They've scored the last 5. Jessup at the top of the key. Got it!
Jeez.
15 down at half-time, 10 down at three-quarter time. Illawarra down 2 with 40 seconds left.
Well, Cleveland's up in the press, but his teammates weren't up pressing as well after they've had that success.
They were 10 up with a minute to go.
What drama here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. 8 unanswered points for the Hawks. The Jack Jumpers must make the most of this possession. They foul Kenyon.
That's a bad foul. Gives him a fresh 14. And again, critical seconds here as you see a massive 3 from Jessup, who really hasn't been feeling it at all tonight. He was 1 from 7 before that big 3 to bring it back to 2 points.
The JackJumpers inbound. Safely in the end. Single-figure shot clock. Ball in the hands of Majet, who finds McVeigh. What a moment for Jack McVeigh.
He's got his game-winning face on and pumping it up. But what we've seen in the last 50 seconds, he might just need to make sure he puts this free throw down before he gets overly excited. It's a huge play in the context of this one.
And really good poise too, Drew. He could have gone up. Froling would have blocked him because the timing was there, but went on the other side of the hoop. Was able to finish it, and then he's got the flex. The Gold Coast flex.
And hey, don't dismiss the pass too. In this situation, Majet just finds him with that left hand. Not over yet by a long stretch, given the inability of the JackJumpers to deal with the pressure that we've seen over the last couple of minutes.
79-74. Jack McVeigh has 17 points in the game on 7 of 15. 5 rebounds to go with it as well. We talk about him all the time in this team. He's the ultimate energy guy.
He is, and he's perfect for this 4 spot. We spoke about it. He can hit the 3. He's tough. He's an energy guy. Good on being able to switch on pick and rolls, and really good pickup for the JackJumpers to be able to bring him in their first year and being able to step up at critical times like this. You'd have to think the fans in Tassie would love the energy that he brings to this franchise as well.
Well, he fits the personality of what Scott Roth's trying to do. That scrappy, really annoying team to play against, and he does all of that. And like you say, Hammer, he can guard multiple positions, and he can deal with some of the bigs down low, but he also, when you get into that switching defense, he's good enough to keep some of those little guys in front of him.
And this energy that he brings has been like it since he was a junior at Runaway Bay. On the Gold Coast. This is him, and becomes contagious. Great teammate, good kid, and he's developing a really good career.
He's only 25 years of age too, Jack McVeigh, so his best basketball's ahead of him.
No doubt.
Scott Roth's not going to foul. They're winning. I think it would be more, you'd be asking that question of the Illawarra Hawks.
Illawarra down 5. Jessup, hand in the face from the corner. Wow!
Now they're pressing. It's on again.
2-point game. Tasmania get beyond halfway. Here's McVeigh. There's 2 more for the JackJumpers. They lead by 4. Return Mays can't make the 3 count. They come up with it. They take another big scalp. They've beaten Sydney. They've beaten Melbourne. And now the JackJumpers have beaten the Hawks twice.
Well, they have, and you can see the emotion of Scott Roth, how important this is, keeps their season alive, and it's a big win against another really good team. And there were some nervous moments for the coach in that last couple of minutes, but somehow or other McVeigh steps up and comes through with a couple of big plays down the stretch.
I love that passion from Scott Roth. It means so much to him. He's trying to lead by example, getting that whole crowd behind him, but you know that's how he is with his team on a day-to-day basis. He's trying to keep them accountable, trying to give them belief. They're playing hard on every possession. And they deserve this win. They outworked the Illawarra Hawks. They disrupted them and kept them to 38% from the field, 24% from the 3. And what a win.
And Emma, what about the Foot Locker player of the day? And it's really his last 3 minutes that I think it got him over the edge. Steindl was going to be the one I thought would lean to, but McVeigh down the stretch when nervous times were out there, a couple of huge plays, 19.6 rebounds, and that energy that he brings at both ends of the floor. And there you see John Perry. I think the rest of the team understand that the valve was very tight for a little bit there, Hammer. And had McVeigh to come in and just ease it ever so slightly.
We're going to come back and wrap it up. What drama to end the game. Tasmania win it 81-77.